what better place to talk Star Trek than from a bridge of a Galaxy-class starship? For as long as I can remember, Star Trek has always been around in my life. My dad introduced the original series to me when I was a young kid. I never really got it though, and grew up in the early 80s loving Star Wars more than anything. It wasn't until 7th grade when Star Trek The Next Generation came out, and it rocked my world, especially the concept of the holodeck, a virtual world as lifelike as our own. I was raised in a fundamentalist Christian church that preached more doomsday sermons than I care to remember, making me depressed about our fate. But Star Trek imagines a future where we survive the worst in ourselves, using technology to create a utopian paradise for humankind. Every week at service, I imagined the sermon was a bad program playing in a holodeck, one in which I could exit at any moment simply by calling for the arch. Then I could end this depressing program of Earth on the brink of Armageddon and retire to the enchanted corridors of a Galaxy-class starship exploring the wonders of our universe. Delving into the Star Trek mythology, I later discovered their vision of the future is bleak too. Its timeline imagines World War III starting in 2026, resulting in 600 million casualties. But in the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, released in May 2022, Captain Christopher Pike tells two warring factions of an alien world that World War III destroyed 30% of humankind, which would be around 2.5 billion people if the population is 8 billion in 2026.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt. I'm Christopher Pike. My world is called Earth. And though it's far from here, my people and yours are very much alike. This is my world today. But we were not always peaceful. This is Earth in our 21st century. Before everything went wrong. It's a lot like your world today. Recently, I was treated to a glimpse of my future. It was not all I'd hoped. I've seen my future. Let me show you yours. Our conflict also started with a fight for freedoms. We called it the Second Civil War, then the Eugenics War, and finally, just World War III. This was our last day. The day the Earth we knew ceased to exist. What began as an eruption in one nation ended in the eradication of 600,000 species of animals and plants and 30% of Earth's population. Global suicide. What we gave you is the means to exterminate yourselves. And from the looks of you, you're gonna do it. You will use competing ideas of liberty to bomb each other to rubble just like we did. And then your last day will look just like this. Perhaps somewhere all your ends are written as indelibly as mine. But I choose to believe that your destinies are still your own. Maybe that's why I'm here, to remind you of the power of possibility. Maybe that's the good in seeing my future, that I might remind you that right up until the very end, life is to be worn gloriously. Because until our last moment, the future is what we make it. So, go to war with each other. Or join our Federation of Planets and reach for the stars. The choice is yours.
get the sense after watching this scene that if the Star Trek utopian timeline for our future is possible without the World War, this spirit is trying to communicate with us all here and now through this episode. Not too difficult to see from any recent news headline that we are living in a very precarious time. Constant threats flood our news of war between the superpowers that could turn nuclear, whether it's the danger of the Ukraine war spinning out of control or China's threats of invading Taiwan. Clearly, things could get a lot worse when adding a climate catastrophe into the mix. On top of all this, there are calls for a new civil war in America. Trump endorsed a post on his media company, Truth Social, calling for this outcome in the US. When he was on Twitter, he retweeted many videos and content implying the left side of us is evil.
This is now our greatest fight since the Civil War. The battle of righteousness versus Satan. Yes, Satan. Because these leftists are evil.
This all brings to mind an episode of Short Treks that came out on October 6th in 2020. It is a story about two little girls whose parents work on Utopia Planitia shipyards on Mars. Like Democrats and Republicans, the two girls continue to escalate a feud, refusing to make amends. Finally, it gets so bad, they get into a massive brawl as their schoolmates take sides and cheer for their choice to prevail. Is there anything that can make these two end their civil war and come together to see they have more in common than differences? In Children of Mars, the answer is yes, and it is a horrifying attack on Mars, nearly destroying the planet. An outside enemy is the only thing capable of ending their civil war, keeping it from spinning out of control. Star Trek has always been a reflection of what's going on in our world. Star Trek Discovery writer Ted Sullivan expresses this and the reason behind their return to the fascist mirror universe in one of their episodes.
How do we make Mirror be about what's going on right now? Because Star Trek is supposed to reflect what's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
And we are dealing with a mirror universe right now, not just in America, but in England and in Europe and throughout the whole world. And I think it feels like a mirror universe a lot of the time. We felt we had a unique opportunity to talk about what's going on in the world right now. People online saying, I don't understand why, when they heard we were going to Mirror, I don't understand why they're going to Mirror in season 1. Well, because that's what's going on in the world right now. And I think that there was an opportunity to really address those things. And
having endured over 2 years of a global pandemic that killed over 15 million people and seeing the start of a horrifying new war in Ukraine, amplifying hostilities between the world's superpowers, things feel like they could be right on track for the future of World War III in 2026, just like Gene Roddenberry imagined. And yet the spirit of possibility is asking that we collectively wake up from this nightmare, because our future has not yet been written. There's still time to turn things around. Both the religious and secular visions of our future have instilled within me a boundless optimism for our species when we finally make the Earth our true country and humankind its citizens. But can we get to heaven without first experiencing hell? Can we prevent Armageddon in the Third World War? Rewriting the Bible and the story of Star Trek. Space, the final frontier, awaits our answer, and whether or not our species will ever live long and prosper for real. Star Trek has inspired me to answer this question in the affirmative. We can make it so. Almost every human on the planet already has their very own communicator and universal translator. Now all we need is a dedicated crew of Spaceship Earth to help our species go where no one has gone before. This is my hope, and this is why I'm here. I want to believe the beautiful dream is more powerful than the horrifying nightmare threatening to unfold around us. And that's why I want to express the vision of the best side of us winning the race for our future. I want to find fellowship with the optimists within humanity, even in the face of conditions in the world becoming more dire than we've ever seen before. Every day, new tensions flare between superpowers, whether between US and Russia or with China, leading to a new Cold War and breakdown in nuclear arms treaties. Over 4 years ago, we were all reading news of potential nuclear war between India and Pakistan, along with the coming US invasion of Iran and Venezuela. Now it's news of the Ukraine war spinning out of control. Religious fanaticism, right-wing extremism, nationalism, and even white supremacy are making a comeback in governments around the world. Immigrants are being demonized, and we're being divided into black and white worldviews as church and state come perilously close to merging. I have traveled across America from sea to shining sea to find megachurch after megachurch in every state, serving as a medium to facilitate millions of evangelical Christians joining forces in a political network mobilized for the election of Trump in 2016 and 2020. Becoming a tool of political animosity and fear.
You ain't seen an insurrection yet. You keep on pushing our buttons, you low-down sorry compromisers. You God-hating communist America, you'll find out what an insurrection is, because we ain't playing your garbage. We ain't playing your mess. My Bible says that the church of the living God is an institution, that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And the Bible says that we'll take it by force.
If they became the means of denying women's and voting rights while turning America against itself into a theocracy, with a coming election marking the beginning of our democracy's end, it's not difficult to imagine civil war combined with a climate catastrophe being the catalyst to push our civilization over the brink into World War III, close to when it happens in Star Trek. My healing journey out west has taken me to the side of America that must win the symbolic race for our future, not the side planning to relive the past, mastering industries of war, while stockpiling enough nuclear firepower to lay waste to our entire planet, killing billions. The political and financial capitals may favor the right, with Washington, D.C. as command center for America, the Pentagon as command center for the military-industrial complex, and Wall Street as command center for the economy. But what would happen if the spiritual capital of America took charge from the left? What if the side mastering dreams in temples of light spread across every nation of Earth, and perfecting handheld machines distributed to citizens in every continent with potential to educate and empower humans by the billions, was now leading us? Imagine industries of dreams overcoming corporate denizens of fear. In the Star Trek vision of our future, when the capital of America on the right coast is replaced by the capital of Starfleet on the left, there is finally peace on Earth and a global country to celebrate. Perhaps there is something in this symbolism we should take to heart. This is the kind of future I dream about, where humanity is finally united in a Type 1 civilization, no longer having fear and wars sap us of our vitality and full potential. Star Trek had its 50th anniversary in 2016, the same year Apple Park's construction began, which is Apple Computer's new headquarters in Cupertino, California, with a larger footprint than the Pentagon and a fortune more vast than the cash available in the US Treasury. Not surprisingly, it looks like an early stage of construction for the Starship Enterprise saucer, and specializes in manufacturing handheld devices distributed to humans of every nation that serve as our very own communicators, universal translators, and with the right accessories, science tricorders. iPhones, Androids, and other smartphones are connecting all humanity together to form what could eventually become a unified crew of Spaceship Earth, rendering all governments and banking systems obsolete with cryptocurrency, blockchain tech, while social media networks facilitate relationships and communities that transcend borders. When I arrived in California from Connecticut, Apple Park was one of the first places I visited, and is it any surprise it's only an hour south of San Francisco, the city that becomes the capital of the Federation.
We're all different. We have different backgrounds. We like to do different things. And we come from different places. San Francisco doesn't just welcome our differences. We encourage them. We celebrate them. We even throw parties for them. It's who we've always been, and who we always will be. Because no matter who you are or where you're from, you're always welcome to go wherever you want to go and be whoever you want to be. It's not just our philosophy, it's our promise. We're always open, always inviting, and you're always welcome. Always San Francisco.
This is why I want to explore the ideas of Star Trek. It represents a humanistic outlook for our future, imagining how beautiful our world could become when we decide to stop destroying ourselves and our Earth, finally free to explore the universe without danger of self-destructing. This is what I want to take away from Star Trek, staying optimistic in the face of such pressing challenges and dire threats ahead. I want to believe our cutting-edge technology can become compatible with the spiritual enlightenment, and that America is not destined for destruction from technology misused to kill, but transformed through innovation, with technology fulfilling its highest calling, a tool to unite humankind through means pre-existent and ends, putting us on track for a future like Star Trek, but without the World War. Where some men have the masculine side of their being harnessed for building weapons to serve the captains of fear and war, there will always be other men who use their intelligence to innovate with machines that serve peace, protect the human rights of women and peoples in every nation, while changing the world for good and transforming consciousness. We've all been seeing the latest turn against billionaire technologists and innovators of the left coast who are becoming new enemies of Americans, polarized over class and political lines. Rage at the richest men, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, along with industries of Hollywood, corporations like Apple, Google, Disney, and many other tech companies have steadily been growing over the years. But let's not forget, our system is built on opposition and is the entire basis of our political machinery, where we always try to empower the lesser evil while thwarting that which is the most sinister. Anyone can see the left isn't perfect, but shouldn't our greatest ire be directed towards fighting the side that needs the most reform and threatens the greatest evil, such as corrosive ideologies of the far right, taking center stage in the GOP, demonizing the left and immigrants, setting off paranoid conspiracies with fears out of control, threatening to corrupt the military and government by promoting endless fears, lies, racism, xenophobia, and policies that champion greed, where the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. This growing imbalance continues to breed suffocating poverty while blaming the downtrodden for society's ills. I understand how upsetting it is for those on the left to have fought the lies of Donald Trump for years and then see Mark Zuckerberg cozying up to him in a secret meeting at the White House, or witness Elon Musk moving Tesla headquarters and his Starship production to the mega stronghold of Texas, buying Twitter in the name of freedom, while setting off fears extremists will get their voices back. It is jarring for his progressive supporters to see the extreme curve the far right has taken, leading to an insurrection at the Capitol, and then see their hero pointing his finger at the left, accusing them of being the side that's too extreme, while changing his political affiliation to Republican. Elon Musk was referenced in an episode of Star Trek Discovery as an instrumental innovator who helped humankind rise to higher levels of technological evolution.
How do you want to be remembered in history? Alongside the Wright brothers, Elon Musk, Zefram Cochrane? Or as a failed fungus expert? A selfish little man who put the survival of his own ego before the lives of others.
And his name also graced a fictional school in San Francisco.
Musk Junior High School, class of 2247. Signatures page.
This is what happens to heroes who dedicate their lives to the improvement of our species. All endeavors promoted by the progressive side of us. It's hard to believe Elon actually believes the left is the problem, especially when the global mind he's trying to expand through Starlink records a much different picture. And he stated in the past that he's a socialist and fondly remembers the presidency of Barack Obama, who most of the GOP despise. Might this change be calculated to move integrity into the GOP camp while opening them up to new ideas at the same time? Hard to take a mission to Mars if the US sinks into a second civil war and potential slide into a third world war. I must admit, I am worried Elon will be seduced by extremists on the right who want to use him as a tool for American empire and the second coming of Donald Trump to the White House. Because Elon Musk is such a genius and has done so much to advance space travel, alternative energy, electric vehicles, artificial intelligence, and robotics, it's easy to feel excited about the future and how his efforts could bring us all closer to living in a world we all want, like Star Trek. This is why I feel it is so absurd contemplating such a gifted visionary being co-opted by a MAGA mind virus currently infecting the GOP. We all can see that Elon Musk came from the side of us, bigger than any individual. The progressive and spiritual network of the left coast that made his success possible and has all the resources in place for the next genius innovator to take the reins of our most promising industries, pushing us to even higher levels of optimism for the future we all want. And that's the beauty of the living machinery that is humankind. Even if Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, or any other innovator who has contributed to the evolution of our species through technology turns against the progressive side of us that made their remarkable and meteoric rise to fantastic heights possible, there will always be new innovators with true vision, rising to prominence in their place, picking up the torch of progress from past legends like Steve Jobs, Buckminster Fuller, Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, and countless others, standing on the shoulders of giants to carry us even further than before towards fulfillment of our greatest dreams. I have faith this living machinery can keep us on track, where the best side within can prevail, transforming the fanatical side, healing our national body, and preventing self-destruction. It is the side of love we need to overcome the side of fear. So Trump will not find revenge at the White House for a second term, triggering a new civil war and threatening to put us on course for the Battle of Armageddon in Revelations or World War III imagined in Star Trek. Let's hold our most cherished innovators to their words about the power of love.
This may sound corny.
It does sound corny,
but love is the answer.
It is the answer.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
You know, the Babylon Bee is a Christian organization, you know, and we're a ministry. We're wondering if you could do us a quick solid and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
On the show.
Personal Lord and Savior, you know, it's a quick prayer.
I mean, let's just say, like, I agree with the principles that Jesus advocated. Treating people as you would wish to be treated. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Very important.
So it's like a 60-70%
As,
yes?
As Einstein would say, I believe in the God of Spinoza.
I want to believe Elon will not be converted to Christianity and used as a tool for MAGA Christian nationalism, but instead will help them live up to the ideals of their Christ, converting the Christian nationalists of Texas to the God of Spinoza, science. So they will reject Trump, setting us on course to taking the climate crisis seriously towards a spacefaring Type 1 planetary civilization, where MAGA is transformed by the desire to make us great by making Earth great for the first time ever as a Type 1 planetary civilization, with humanity united in peace and prosperity, without the prophetic last chapter of their Bible coming true. Perhaps if MAGA learns all about the beauty of Elon Musk's dream to make humanity an interplanetary species and our planet a Type 1 civilization, it's possible they will make it their mission to wake up the extreme right, showing them the folly of their past ways. I look forward to the day when both sides of us collectively wake up together and agree. If our civilization has already built 3 life-size replicas of Noah's Ark spread across 3 continents in the Northern Hemisphere, surely we as a species can find the resolve to build at least 1 life-size replica of the Enterprise, using it as inspiration for moving to the next level, building a future and humanity's first starship without the World War, claiming our destiny as a human family at peace and in prosperity in a United States of Earth. Imagine a full-sized replica of, say, the Enterprise D in a major world city, filled with hotel rooms as crew quarters, theaters playing Trek, science fiction movies and shows in every holodeck, virtual reality rides and adventures, Star Trek and sci-fi conventions held in the main and smaller shuttle bays, fan film festivals, ship tours, science labs, merchandise, gift shops, restaurants, bars, lounges, science and astronomy seminars and classes, gaming and gaming design conventions, school field trips, TED and science talks, STEM events, along with a full-sized aquarium and cetacean ops. Star Trek could help counter the rise of tribal religious fanaticism on Earth, while inspiring Christians and Muslims to rewrite the Revelation end times timeline of the future too, where we get to the new beginning, heaven, without first needing to endure the hell of the religious wars expected. Imagine a fellowship of Trek, no holy scriptures needed, just a tablet or smartphone with all 800 episodes and films of Star Trek. We meet every week, not in churches, but in virtual starships, maybe like this one, as fellow crewmates of Spaceship Earth, where we organize and become a global political force, countering the rise of theocracy and fascism, to rewrite the Star Trek timeline, to build a future and a starship without the World War. Star Trek has always been about connection, relationships, and fellowship, and a vision of our future in which humankind is united, with diversity our greatest strength.
Diversity contains as many treasures as those waiting for us on the other worlds. We will find it impossible to fear diversity and to enter the future at the same time.
They said if you had a multiracial crew, you wouldn't get in. Well, I said, well, we can't do the show then because we will never get to the 23rd century if we're not all living together.
If humanity is to survive, we will have learned to take a delight in the essential differences between people and between cultures. We will learn that differences in ideas and attitudes is a delight, part of life's exciting variety, not something to fear.
I should say, if I have any overall philosophy, it's a reverence for all living things and a great optimism about mankind.
Because I live in a Western nation whose religious landscape is dominated by Christianity, I haven't had an easy time trying to create a new spiritual roadmap. In the same way, I would also have a very hard time if I lived in the Middle East and tried to present an alternative to Islam designed to unite the earth. There is a vast support system to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ or convert unbelievers to Allah around the world, and even oppose those who would rock the boat. But where is the support system for those trying to build a worldwide fellowship beyond divisions of religion, nationality, race, gender, sexual orientation, or political affiliation? I know I wouldn't find any resistance to this dream from progressive Christians or progressive Muslims who truly understand love. It is the more fanatical variety that I want to transform most, because they see my dream of a global country as work of the Antichrist. The enterprise to me is equivalent to heaven for the faithful, because my orientation has always led me to the secular worldview over the religious. In my view, the enterprise is superior because it combines the vague paradise of heaven with the imagined details of realization through science. The religious may sincerely believe in heaven, but if you apply logic and ask them about the details, it will slowly evolve into a vision like Star Trek. Well, what are you going to do in heaven? Would you do something similar to a future Earth? Harness and use technology to make paradise more enriching? Like maybe build a starship like this one and tour the heavens? This is exactly what Star Trek is about. Journeying into the unknown reaches of our universe to know more fully what the religious might call the mind of God. I love the idea of being on a starship up above the Earth as a healing place to travel anywhere in the galaxy, where I can escape all the problems, all the suffering, and all the insanity happening on this planet, with people not even agreeing whether the world is round or flat, or whether the climate crisis is real or faked, or whether there was a pandemic or a massive global left-wing conspiracy. There's something so powerful in the symbolism of a starship. In my view, it can be a metaphor for our spaceship Earth, and in the case of the Enterprise, it can be seen as a representation of Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream of an integrated starship Earth, where humanity is united and living in peace, finally able to explore the universe without danger of self-destructing.
A genuine revolution of values means in the final analysis that our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Every nation must now develop an overriding loyalty to mankind as a whole in order to preserve the best in their individual societies. This call for a worldwide fellowship that lifts neighborly concern beyond one's tribe, race, class, and nation is in reality a call for an all-embracing, unconditional love for all men, has now become an absolute necessity for the survival of mankind. It is time for all people of conscience to call upon America to come back home. Come home, America.
The idea of humanity untethered from our world, free to travel across our solar system and visit the strange new worlds of over 5,000 exoplanets already discovered, is intoxicating. The demand that we make this beautiful dream so is going to get louder with each passing new generation who bears witness to this mind-blowing vision but has yet to find their power to boldly go. There's something very poetic about being alone on a massive starship, waiting for your crew to either awaken from hibernation or arrive to join and help you reach a beautiful destination. Star Trek has always inspired within me a beautiful vision of our collective destiny after we finally all become fellow crewmates on the same global mission through space and time. With this starship I'm on, serving as symbol for the consciousness of Earth being our collective spaceship, I know I'm not entirely alone on this mission. As a world citizen crew member, I've already met and am friends with others in my world citizen family, and I know there are many more out there, but I'm also waiting to find more to come on board so we can join on a mission to promote a beautiful new dream for our civilization, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Between now and 2026 and beyond, let's start a new fellowship to watch and analyze the best films and episodes of Star Trek and take the wisdom of infinite diversity and infinite combinations to heart in our own world as our greatest strength, not weakness. A transformation in our collective consciousness from nations refusing to act like states in a global country to a Type 1 planetary spacefaring global civilization with humanity finally united and living in peace and prosperity, ready to embark on the greatest adventure ever, no longer in danger of self-destructing, is what we all need. We may not be ready for first contact and a united federation of planets, but we are ready to get moving now to build a united federation of nations. This is the only means we will ever create the conditions in which we can all thrive together and find a future worth living for. If you are a world citizen who loves Star Trek and believes we should explore, not wage world war, I want to join forces with you to change the world so we can all live long and prosper. Who can forget the iconic scene in Star Trek First Contact where Zefram Cochrane repurposes an ICBM missile, a weapon of nuclear war, into a rocket ship for exploring the stars? I'm going to end with a quote from Bertrand Russell, which I'm sure you'll agree is very relevant to the vision of Star Trek. The future possibilities of space travel, which are now left mainly to unfounded fantasy, could be more soberly treated without ceasing to be interesting, and could show to even the most adventurous of the young that a world without war need not be a world without adventurous and hazardous glory. To this kind of contest, there is no limit. Each victory is only a prelude to another, and no boundaries can be set to rational hope.